No metronome. Why would I need a metronome? Apologies, it's really hot in my van, but it's also really rainy outside, so I'm kind of stuck. So it is what it is. All right, let's do a little of this. Yeah, just prime YouTube content here. I want to talk about fear. Fear is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, as strange as that sounds. I've had a pretty intimate relationship with it ever since I was a kid. In my youth, I was more or less indoctrinated into a cult, and I had to face my worst fears at the time in order to escape it. My childhood is not what this video is about, though. Right now, I want to talk about the general concept of fear and why we should be paying close attention to the fear we experience in our own lives. Now, fear is a big topic, so for this video specifically, I want to focus in on the type of fear we might experience when trying to do something we feel is important, either for ourselves or for others. So first off, when is fear helpful? When we give fear its proper attention, it's that voice inside our head that asks us to consider the realistic dangers of any situation we might face and to include those considerations in our plans. It also helps us act quickly and decisively when things go wrong. Simply put, it can keep us from doing stupid shit. But what about when fear makes us do stupid shit? In my opinion, fear quickly turns unhealthy once we start identifying with it, integrating it into who we think we are. Think about how we typically express feelings of fear. Instead of saying, I feel fear, we say the words, I am afraid. Am I in focus? I don't even know. Have I been out of focus this entire time? I might have been. We can fix it in post. We're not going to be able to fix it in post. It seems like a small difference, but when we continually think of fear as something that we are instead of something that we experience, that type of thinking adds up over time. We start carrying around these burdens of fear that drag us down, that squander opportunities, and limit our potential. We basically become our own anti-cheerleader. We say things like, oh, I could never do what she does. I'm just not that kind of person. They're just made of different stuff than me. Instead of spiraling down that train of thought, what if we let reality tell us what our limits are, rather than our imagination? Now, I'm not saying facing our fears is easy. I mean, hell, right now, I'm fairly terrified to speak in front of a camera. What I propose is a simple framework for interacting with fear. Paying attention, assessing risk, and acting. The first part of that equation is basic mindfulness. We pay attention to the feeling of fear, let it come into being, say what it needs to say, without attaching or identifying with it. Then we compare what that feeling is telling us with the information that we know to be true. Are our fears based in reality, our own personal experience? And what if our worst fears come to pass? What would realistically happen? And how would we feel if we successfully faced that fear? Would we be stronger or weaker because of that? After all that, most importantly, the only thing left to do is act. Now, if you've ever done something that involved jumping from a high place, like cliff diving or bridge jumping, you know that the longer you stand on the edge of that precipice, the more you can get in your own head and the harder it becomes to jump. Hey, sun's coming out a little bit. That's good. Well, not good for the fucking sweat that's on my face. Where's my script? I have a script. Sometimes we just have to face something head on, whether we feel we're ready for it or not. Oftentimes, this just means muddling through a situation and figuring out things as we go along. And that's okay. That's pretty much the most human thing we can do. I mean, we already all do this in one form or another. The biggest example being, none of us knows why we're here, and yet we exist, we persist, we muddle along in spite of that. So why not try and muddle along in a direction you want to go? Have I said the word muddle enough yet? Again, I'm not saying any of this is easy. We all have our own individual situations, circumstances, personal demons to contend with. But what I personally feel and have experienced in my own life is that trying to face these fears is one of the most important things we can do. It's something that has the potential to bring about profound positive change. And as someone who also lives in a van recently told me, sometimes you just gotta do it afraid.